Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started with the drawing, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just open up the file that downloads and it'll automatically pop the color palette into Procreate, so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video. So take a second to go and grab that and then come back and we will get started. Okay, first things first, we are going to go over our canvas dimensions. They are 10 inches by 10 inches at 300 dpi. The color profile that we're using is the second one on the RGB list. And by the end of the video, we have about 10 layers is all, so make sure you have at least that many available here. If you do not have that many, you can always go back to your dimensions and change the DPI, make it a little bit lower, and then you should have more layers available. Okay, this is what our color palette is looking like. And the first thing that we're going to do is open up our layer menu, and we are going to click on this background color layer, and we are going to pick this first color, the peachy color, the first one on the top row, to fill in the background. Okay, and we are going to be on layer 1 now, and we are going to first go and grab this second color on this top row here. And the first thing we're going to do is add some texture and different colors to our sky. We're going to go to the brushes menu, and we are going to be under the painting tab, this stucco brush here. We are going to have that set to about 40%, and we are just going to go back and forth left to right across the sky. Kind of picking your brush up every so often and go pretty lightly so it's not perfect. Go most of the way down. We'll cover up a lot of the bottom with the water. Okay, and on that same layer, we are going to grab this third color on the top row, the white, and we're going to add that a little more sparingly, just in smaller little sections. Kind of on each side here and there. And then lastly, we are going to grab this third color on the second row and add in just a teeny tiny bit of that as well. Okay, and then to add even more texture, we are going to go to our layer menu, add a new layer on top of this one. Go back and grab our second color on the top row that we started with when we started painting, and we are going to grab this oil paintbrush. So it's the next one right under our stucco brush, or that's what it is in my menu anyway, but it's under the painting category. Let's set it to about 60%, and we are going to similarly just go back and forth, left to right, across the sky in little sections. We want to still see some of the stucco, but we're just going to add another layer of texture here with this. And then again, let's go and grab our third color on the top row, the bright white, and we are going to do that also. So the oil paintbrush, and this is why we're on a new layer, is kind of like a blending brush as well. If you run this along enough, it kind of blends in with itself and the other colors that you've already laid down. So it's pretty fun to use. Okay, and then we're going to grab the pink color, the third one on the second row, and again, just add in very, very lightly some little smidges of pink and kind of blend them in with our other colors by going back and forth a few times. And the last little bit is we are actually going to grab the first color on the last row as well, this blue, and we're just going to add a little bit of that right in the upper area. And then I'm actually going to go back in with a little bit of white, so the third color on the top row, and kind of blend that out a little bit with the blue so it's not so blue. Awesome. Okay, so now we are going to add the water layer. So let's add a new layer on our layer menu, and we are going to select this first color on the last row. We are going to click on the selection tool here, turn on rectangle and color fill, and we are just going to draw a rectangle starting from the outside of the left side of the canvas about 1/3 of the way up, down, and all the way off on the other side so that it covers the entire bottom section, and then let it go so that it fills that in. Then we are going to click on this layer, turn on alpha lock, and we are going to go to our color palette, select the second color on the last row, go back to our stucco brush under the painting category, same size as we were using before, about 40%, and again lightly add some of that, going left to right. And then we are going to grab the third color on the last row, a lighter color, and add some of that as well. And once again, go to our layer menu, add a new layer on top of this one. This time we will click on it and turn it into a clipping mask so that it only draws on top of our water shape here, this rectangle. But we are going to grab the oil paint brush again. And I already have this light blue color selected, the third one on the last row, so let's just go ahead with that. And our brush is where it was before at about 60%. We're just going to create some small little patches with this. Now we have the full picture nice and textured, so we are going to add our sun in the background here. It's bright pink, so let's add a new layer. We are going to drag this layer below our water layer but above our sky texture layers that we made. We are going to grab the first color on the second row, grab the selection tool, click on Eclipse, color fill, and we're going to drag a circular shape. Make it about as close to a perfect circle as you can. It doesn't need to be exact though. We want it pretty big, maybe about this size, and then let it go to let it fill in. And then I'm going to click on the arrow tool and I am going to turn on uniform. It's a little too big, so I'm going to drag it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to place it right a little to the left of the center line here. And then I'm going to have about half of it sticking up above the water. When I have it positioned like I like, I will go to the layer menu, click on this layer with the sun, turn on alpha lock, and we are going to do a similar thing that we did with the sky and the water. So we are going to add some texture here. So let's grab the second color on the second row, and we are going to use our oil paint brush again. Let's change the size to about 25%. And then we're just going to lightly kind of draw in circular motion, some towards the center, some towards the edge, just to kind of add some of that color there. And again, you can kind of blend it out, so if your shape isn't looking very circular, you can kind of go over it a couple times and kind of blend it. Then let's go to our color palette and select the third color on the second row, the lighter color, and we will do the same thing, just kind of focus it in certain areas. Okay, when you have that how you like it, we will go to our layer menu, slide left on this layer and click duplicate. Select the bottom layer, click on it, turn off alpha lock, And then we're going to go to our wand tool, click on Gaussian Blur layer, and drag that up to about 20%, 25%, give it a little bit of a glow. And then while we are working on this, we are going to go back to our clipping mask that is on top of our water layer. Select that layer so we are working on that layer, and then click on our color palette, select the first color on the second row, grab our brush menu, open that up, and we are going to select under airbrushing the very top brush, or at least it is for me, the soft brush. And we are going to turn the opacity of the brush on the left here down to about 70%. We'll set the size to about 15. And we're just going to lightly draw a little bit of a glow kind of on the water from the sun. So make it a little bit thicker towards the base of the sun on the water, and then, you know, almost in a circular shape, but not perfect. So then it gets, you know, a little thinner as it gets further away. Okay, then we are going to add the boat down here. We'll do that next. So let's add a new layer. We are going to go to our color palette, select the second color on the top row. And for our brush, we are going to switch to the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. And we are going to just very simply make a boat shape. So first of all, we will draw a line straight across in the water down here on the left. Hold it down so it turns into a perfectly straight line, and then touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Then let's make another line like that a little bit below it, and then start in, and then don't bring it out as far, so it'll be smaller on both the left and the right side. No perfect measurements or anything. Then let's just draw a line to connect the two. Some slanted lines like this, and again, hold your pen down at the end so it turns perfectly straight. This last little bit here, I'm going to click edit shape, and then I can kind of adjust it so it fits a little bit better. Then we will fill that shape in. Click on the layer menu, click on this layer, turn on alpha lock, go to our color palette, select the third color on the top row, and set the monoline brush to about 100%. And we're going to draw a line through the boat, hold it down at the end, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. And I just want it a little bit down from the top, but with more room on the bottom, so it's just kind of like a little stripe through the boat. And then we're going to go to our layer menu, add a new layer, drag it below this layer. It turned into a clipping mask automatically to my water layer, which is actually okay because it's not going to go past it, but you can turn that off if you'd like, but I'll just leave it on. We are going to grab the third color on the top row, and using our monoline brush still, drop the size to maybe 60%. And we are going to first draw the sail of the boat. So a little bit up from the boat near the center, leave a little space there, and then draw a perfectly vertical line. So hold your pen down and then touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. Nothing too big. And then we are going to draw a perfectly horizontal line sticking out from the bottom. So start from the bottom of the line, draw it to the right, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Don't go quite out as far as the end of the boat, and then draw a line to connect them and hold that down so it turns perfectly straight as well. Now we have a nice little triangle sail shape, so fill that in. And then let's go to our color palette and select the fourth color on the top row. And then starting at the top of the sail, draw a line going straight down, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, and draw it through the center of the boat so that it goes behind it there. So that is our sail. Now we're gonna draw our person. So let's grab the color menu, click on this last color on the last row. And to draw a person, we're gonna draw a very simple, almost stick-like figure. So let's just draw a little circle. It doesn't even have to be like perfect. Draw downwards from the circle. It doesn't have to be like a perfect stick though. Maybe kind of like this could be like his back arm. And then let's draw an arm kind of out towards the sail like this. Again, it's pretty simple little figure there, just to kind of give the illusion of a person. Okay, now that that is done, let's go to our layer menu and snap these two layers together. So our main boat layer and then our sail and our person, slide them together with your fingers to snap them into a layer together. Again, it's still set to a clipping mask on the water, which is totally okay, but if yours isn't set to that, that's okay also. But let's make a duplicate of this layer. Click on the arrow tool, click on flip vertical, and then we're going to turn on freeform, and let's make it a little skinnier from top to bottom, and then drag it below to kind of line up with the bottom of our original boat layer. Okay, and then click on the layer menu to open it up, and then this one that we just flipped and made skinnier, click on the N next to that layer, and let's drag that down to maybe 60%. And then let's click on the wand icon, Gaussian Blur layer, and then drag that up to maybe 10%. So that's just kind of a little reflection in the water. And lastly, we're going to add our birds to the sky and add a reflection in the water for them as well. So let's add a new layer on top of all of our layers. We are on our black color, fourth one on the bottom row. And we're just going to stick with our monoline brush. Let's drag the size to maybe 30%. And we're just going to make some little simple bird shapes in the sky here, kind of like a little V. So I'll make a bigger one and then maybe two kind of smaller ones like that. Easy peasy. And then we will make a duplicate of that layer. Again, click on the arrow tool. Click on flip vertical, drag it down into the water, keeping it pretty lined up with where it was originally. And then with that layer still selected, let's click on the wand tool first, Gaussian Blur layer, and drag this one up to maybe 20% this time, maybe 18 to 20. It'll be a little blurrier than our boat since they're so far away. So let's do 20, and then since they're so blurred, it kind of makes them less dark as well, so we don't really need to mess with the opacity on this layer like we did with our boat. But I think that looks like a good reflection. So that completes our drawing today. I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to see more tutorials from me. Also, if you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, please do so, and then tag me in it so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.